Hi, my name is Isadore Duckett. On this week's episode of Matters of the Heart, we're talking youth empowerment with Alderman Eddie Andrews. Welcome to those that are tuning in for the first time. This is exciting, not only for me, but I know for Alderman Eddie. It wasn't an easy one to get him in, but I am grateful for him making himself available today. It's a topic that's dear to my heart, and coming from a background where I've seen the destruction of youth, mainly young men, growing up without a father figure. Myself growing up in the streets of Hout Bay. My dad worked on sea for years. There's so many things that can pull you away from what you need to do in life. But before I go into the topic today, it's such a privilege and such an honor to have Alderman Eddie Andrews with us today. And I would like to just to greet the listeners and just say hi.
Yeah, thanks, Isadore, and thank you for having me. Love to have the opportunity to be part of this. I think it's a very important message that we need to communicate today, that you can achieve success irrespective of your circumstances. And I think our own journeys in life, it gives us a mess, and then that becomes the message. And I think that's what excites me about being part of the podcast and communicating message of hope. And of course, if you look at hope as an acronym, helping other people excel, and by sharing our experiences. And that's why we've adjusted the diary to be here today, because it's a very important conversation, a narrative that we need to relay, and it must reverberate to everyone that is able to hear this message.
Well, that is so important, and like I said, when things sometimes, and just to let the listeners in, when sometimes things don't work your way, you think, you know what, I've got a disappointment. When I called you and you said yes, I knew that things is lining up. And so, promise you, I'm not going to ask you about the electricity increase and what's happening at Eskom. I think the mayor covered that this morning on the show with Aiden. But I really just wanted to unpack a couple of things. And before I go into, I know there's someone probably ask, just go into the Stormer's career, or go into the we'll do that on another podcast and just talk about
more than happy to do that
on your Springbok career. But I just wanted you to, Eddie Andrews, where did you grow up, sort of just the background, because when people see us today, they don't always understand that there's been a journey.
Yeah.
There's been a background story, and for those that don't know, it would be nice for you to just share.
Isadore, God willing, I would be married to one woman for 24 years later in November this year. I currently have 3 kids, a 21-year-old girl, a beautiful daughter, Eden, a 17 aspirant professional rugby player, my son Joel, and the youngest daughter, my most favorite 15-year-old child in the house, Jessie. And yeah.
Did you just say my most
The key is so I've got a favorite 15-year-old.
Yes.
I've got a favorite 17-year-old, and I have a favorite 21-year-old.
You're a smart guy.
So I've got 3 favorites in the home, and that's who I am now. I think grew up, spent 42 years of my life growing up in Mitchell's Plain, a community that's very dear to my heart, and journeying through that, I think, excites me. Parents, working class background. My late father was a bricklayer. My mom spent most of her time working in the retail sector and a manager of a butchery, and through that they supported me. You mentioned early on, privileged to have played professional sport for the Stormers, for Western Province, and for the Springboks, and I come from Mitchell's Plain. That's my story, and I have a lifelong advocacy agenda to communicate that message that you can achieve success irrespective of your circumstances, and it starts with yourself.
Absolutely. And that's what this program is about, is that in life there's 2 ways of learning. You can either learn by experience or you can learn by instruction. I see so many of our young people that want to sort of earn their own experience, but there's people that can already tell you what's the outcome if you try that. You know, if you drink and the outcome will be that you will get drunk, and some of our young people get foolish and they do things that they can't remember tomorrow morning.
If they listen.
So that's really what it's about, that there's people that's been through the experience for you. Yes, you will gain your own experiences in life, but if you just take the instruction, if I tell you, please, you can't go through or down that road because you don't have a license, there's a roadblock, and I can tell you now, the word is out that they will lock you up. Some of our young people still go through that. Hey? We've got people coming out of prison. They tell you about the experience for the last 20 years. It's not worth the while. There's still some of our young people that want to go in. My encounter with you, and I'm quite shocked to hear now the ages of Aaron and Joel, because when I met them, they were young, and I know
about 9-10 years younger.
When we go to family gatherings and people see us, they're like, "Oh my word! Look at how big is this child! What did you expect? They must grow up." And
Eventually.
and that's where I encountered the two, the little one. She was running around, and Joel, to a certain extent, he kept us on our toes, but it was with the DAD program, the youth empowerment program, and personally, I can say this: I've been there. I've worked with you in the trenches. There were so many exciting things, Portuguese competitions,
Yes, my favorite part of the program.
and the youth camps, and so many other things. Can you soos hulle sê in Afrikaans, laat ons met die deer in die huis inval. Can you sort of just, how did that program come about? Where did you see the need for the DAD program?
Isadore, it comes, that I think you alluded to it early on, that we have these social ills within our community quite prevalent.
Yeah.
So we say, don't do the bad stuff.
Yeah.
But we have an obligation to offer something better.
Yes.
And that's what the program was about. I reflected on my own life, growing up in Mitchells Plain and not conforming to the social ills.
Yeah.
And asked myself, Eddie, why did you not conform?
Yes.
Just my late brother and I were, 2 kids in the home, same house, same parents, different choices.
Yes.
And the difference with me was that I had a different support structure, a substructure, other than my parents and my friends and my peers at the time. And I think, reflecting, I asked myself, so why did you not conform or succumb rather to these social ills? And it's because I had that support structure. And there were people alongside me for extended periods that really encouraged me, motivated me, and held me accountable.
Yeah.
And that is why in 2013, it was my second year in public office, and I was on holiday with a family, and I was laying at Club Mechanos on the indoor pool there, and laying my notepad, and I was asking myself, the kids were swimming, and the wife was, I think she was somewhere around.
Yeah.
But I sat there and I asked myself, so Eddie, this is 2 years into office. You've got 3 years remaining.
Yeah.
After the first term, what is it that you would want to have achieved?
Yes.
And that's when I literally scribbled some notes, and I said, well, what happened in your life? And I mentioned a support structure over an extended period.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we need to start a program. It wasn't scientifically based. It was just saying what happened in my life, and anecdotally, this is what happened, and let's do that for kids growing up on the Cape Flats, and particularly Mitchells Plain. And the acronym that I thought of was, it had to be a youth mentor program, but the acronym DAD. And DAD being the acronym for Decision Affects Destinies.
Yes.
One decision has the potential to impact many destinies. And the best way to describe it would be, let's look at teenage pregnancy.
Yes.
Most on the Cape Flats or in our townships, you have kids that are sharing rooms. And so you've got a brother and a sister at least, or 1 or 2 other siblings. And if there's a teenage pregnancy in the home, it impacts on that room and the dynamics there. It impacts on the family's budget.
Yes.
It impacts on the long-term plans of the family, whether they wanted to upgrade and buy a bigger home or buy another car or a car. And so that's why it's the best way I can describe the the gist of the program in terms of the destinies.
Yes.
Because one decision, whether it be negative or positive,
Yes.
has the potential to impact on many destinies.
The ripple effect.
The ripple effect. So that's
Yes,
the
sir.
negative example. And similarly, also you have the positive impact. I remember the first year I played in 2004. I played and I represented the Springboks. And the first thing, because the match fees, it was quite generous at the time, probably a lot more now.
Yeah.
It was a lot of money. And I bought my mom a brand new lounge suite for her house.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so that's a consequence of a positive decision.
Yes.
The destiny that I was, where I found myself at the time, I could now positively impact my mom.
Yes.
I could improve the quality of the life of my wife at the time.
Wow.
And I think we just had Erin was just born. I think she was about 2.5 years at the time. And so we could buy our own home first.
Wow.
So
Wow.
just changing the trajectory. And that to me, what was exciting at the time, to see that we, the tangible impact at the time by one decision.
One
that
decision.
Was
And also changing the narrative.
absolutely.
So when you spoke about, I clearly heard the word coming through the generational sort of curses or mistakes that was made, but we don't always talk about the generational blessings if you make the right decisions. I've done a bit of research and I just went through what the impact is of a sort of fatherless generation or a home where there is no father. And like I said earlier in my intro, growing up in Hout Bay, my dad, like I said, I'll get an opportunity one day just to share the full story, but he's always been on sea, and if he's not on sea, he would be in prison. And you grow up as a youngster. I think I was sort of 11 when I started out on Fish on the Rocks, making chips, and by 12, I was a sliding door operator. I was a taxi guard. And can you imagine what a 12-year-old gets exposed to at the taxi rank? Your interaction with the youth, obviously you spend time with them. Do you feel, I'm not going to go into the research and spit stats, youth or young people growing up in a home where there is no dad, I'm talking specifically father, what sort of impact would you see on young people like that?
Isidore, it's massive. I think we need fathers validate.
Yeah.
Moms are effectively the glue in the home.
Absolutely.
But there's something different that the father brings, and
Yes.
brings stability. You're able to validate your children, and just the presence. It also offers the child and safety that they need
Yes.
to grow up in life as well. It's not just the absent father, because we also have fathers who are present, physically present,
Yes.
but emotionally absent as well. And it's all about supporting and being there and picking up the pieces, just generally as a parent, and not just when there are homes where there are absent fathers, even homes when there are single parents as
Yes.
well, where
Yes.
that parent has to fulfill a dual responsibility. It definitely has an impact, and something as practical as attending parent-teacher meetings.
Yes.
So you go there and everyone's there with the mother and the father, and you're just there by yourself, and you're one parent that's there. And so you also get that as a concern. But I think any parent, and more importantly a father, because of what the father represents, I think really in any obligation that is missing will have a negative impact. And you won't be able to rope in the child at the moments when you should rope them, or just sort of come alongside them and highlight there's a potential pitfall ahead, please turn left, and not right. And sadly, that this generation, they want to journey those pitfalls, and they want to experience those the good, the bad, and the ugly, and make up their mind for themselves. And it's even more an obligation us as parents to be there to pick up the pieces. But most certainly, any parent being absent for whatever reason, having passed on or not just present, it has detrimental effect on our youth.
I'm looking at it, and once again, while doing the studying and just seeing what the effects is of not having that parent around, our young girls fall prey to another guy that would tell them things, but if the dad told them, I love you and you're beautiful and all those things, they would turn to the guy and say, come up with something better. I've heard that all my life that I'm beautiful. I've heard that all my life that. But in my personal capacity, like I said, I've got 2 boys and 2 girls. I'm an undertaker on Saturday, but if Malachi plays soccer on Saturday, man, the dead needs to bury the dead. I mean, we need to get another undertaker, because what I've realized growing up and playing sports, and I always say to myself, I think I would have gone far in sports. Played table tennis on primary school, number 2 table tennis player, and I think I was okay playing soccer, but I never had the opportunity of my dad coming to watch the game. And you know what? Early stage, sort of junior level, I would be one of those parents that would stand and shout Malachi and give him instructions. But I mean, he plays Castle now, and at 18, one of the things that I always wanted to do was to play Bale, and he's got the opportunity playing next week. But I can't describe in words
how proud you are
when he looks up and sees me standing there. And you know what? You see those things coming through. I think the other day, last month, it was my birthday, and he don't say a lot, but on his status, the caption was "my hero." And based on what you say, is more than our words, our kids see our action. So we can tell them what to do, but more than what we say, they look at what we actually model in front of them. When we look at the decisions affect destinies, I mean, when you look at that program and what you're doing in the community, it's children from all walks of life that's coming through the program. Talk about just the type of things that gets covered in the program to the listeners that don't really know what the program is about.
Thanks, Isadore. I think the program, as I mentioned, is a youth mentor program.
Yes.
It focuses on 3 pillars: self,
Yes,
family, and community. You spoke about the family event, one family aspect being the Portuguese competition.
yes,
Where we cluster the kids together, their families, to make that,
Sure.
to participate. Interesting activation that it's to observe. And self, because irrespective of your circumstances, you can still, be present and active in your community. There's lots of needs that the individual generally in life would need, and especially as a youth. And so what we do is we pair you with your peers in your peers in your groups.
That's right.
And then you offer them that sort of social skills there. We also offer academic support, whether it be tutoring. The program would pay for, depending on you choose your subject, we'll give you voucher at the company. And then also for those who have matric, we offer that in matric as well, and post-matric driver's classes. So whatever you need, we try and fill that gap that your family structure can't necessarily fill as well. There's also quite a few bursaries that we've been able to offer kids on the program as well.
Wow.
And just today, as a matter of fact, Isadore, I've been to a primary school where 3 of our original participants who joined the program in 2013, they are doing 2 things now. 1, they're actually running the program now.
Wow.
And 2, they are now qualified teachers at a primary school
I know that.
out in Mitchells Plain.
Yes.
And my heart skipped a beat when I saw them, because it's a very good example of one decision, it's now impacting many lives. And the family trajectory has changed forever and a day.
Absolutely.
Because the healthy option was chosen, and not conforming to the bad stuff in our communities.
And absolutely. Alderman, you were sort of jumping the gun there. We were getting to the success stories, and because I was part of the program, it's such a joy when you see these young people coming in. And I know these before pics and sort of, know, where they find
incriminating.
And with the young people, it's like, Uncle Eddie, my hair wasn't done properly there, and they carry on, and it's really heartwarming to hear. You stand there literally as a proud parent.
Yeah.
Sort of, yes, you've adopted them and you become their dad, and it's really good to hear that. When I look at, you spoke about the family structure and support. I don't want to go back and touch on it again, but when you look at it, don't have to give the percentage. How many of those kids coming through the program, single parents?
Probably most of the kids in the program would be from single parents.
Yeah.
1, and then 2, most of the kids in the program would not necessarily have the resources to go on camp, to pay for the tutorial support, academic tutorial support,
Yeah.
or perhaps driver's license, or those workshops that we offered the
Yes.
kids, computer programming. None of them would
Yes.
be able to afford any of that. And so that I think they were ticking all those boxes and being
Yes.
part of it. And yes, there's a small component of the kids who come from a stable background. They really added value to the program. But the bulk of the participants don't come from homes that are able to offer that. And even more so under the family pillar, so we would have family events where we get a bus and you can bring your entire family along.
That's right.
Those events were always oversubscribed as well, because something as basic as going on an outing out of Mitchell's Plain,
Yes.
most of those kids never had that opportunity.
It's a huge thing for
It's
them.
and also the one year we went to for the first time to Robben Island, and the kids were all
Yes,
starry-eyed.
I remember that
And so what happened? It was their first time here.
Yeah.
So it's all about exposing them and saying, guys, other than what you see right in your immediate surroundings,
Yes.
there's a big world out there.
Absolutely.
And expose and have the paradigm shifted.
Yes. I like that because, the minute you take somebody out of their environment and sort of expose them to, listen, the world is bigger than just, and it takes them away from making excuses.
Yeah.
I always say, and I stick with this, excuses are disguised lies. We can easily come up with an excuse why you can't. And that's the purpose of this program, that whoever listens to it, whether it's a young person or somebody in their 30s or 40s, for argument's sake, you know what? I can still do it. It can still be done. There is a support structure. Sometimes we need to maybe just ask, maybe we need to just put the questions out there, and what I've realized is that life is really about relationships.
Yeah.
If you look at those young people, who would have thought coming through the DAD program that they would actually end up going for their learners and getting their license, and like
And
you
still
said,
remaining friends.
wow.
Still, Isadore, I believe with all my heart that success follows success.
Yes, sir.
And so if you pursue success will and they pursue you.
Yes.
The program is premised on the quote of Henry Hartman: success is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yes, sir.
And the agenda is to get you ready for that opportunity. You
Yes.
may have one opportunity that will set you up for another opportunity.
Yes.
And you've got to make sure that you're ready for that. So that's all about relationships, and they're still all in relationships with each other right now. Very good mates on the program, and also on a social level. So
Yeah.
we love that, and I absolutely agree with you. Absolutely do.
Preparation for me is so key because we spend a lot of time in prep. So preparation sort of precedes presentation. I mean, I always say, if you look at it, how long you spend making food and how quick they just devour. Everything is in preparation. I mean, in studying, you spend years and years and then obviously finally you get this degree. The requirements, what's the age? You said predominantly Mitchell's Plain,
Yeah.
but I've seen kids there from different areas.
So yes, so Mitchell's Plain and the surrounds also
Yeah.
joined, and so the program continues there. I've just recently, on the 21st of March,
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago, launched the program out in Plumstead in the Steerdorf area,
Yeah.
where we're trying to get kids in the surroundings there to join the program.
Wow.
We are targeting 12 to 14 or 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
And the requirement doesn't cost you anything financially, but it does cost you. It costs you commitment. It costs you
Commitment.
a
Yes.
desire to be successful.
Yes.
And to remain with the program. And so we're out there. I mean, they can contact us, and whether in the Mitchell's Plain surrounds, whether you are in the Plumstead Steerdorf surrounds, please contact us. And we're launching the program now there, and we'd love you to come and join.
Wow.
Some of the events are, depends entirely on our capacity, and some of the community events, it's open to everyone.
Wow.
And not just the participants. Even if you're an NGO or a business owner or anyone that you can add value to self or to community or to
Yes.
family, please reach out to us. We're more than happy to have that resource exchange
Yes.
on the program, because that's what the program was built on out in Mitchell's Plain.
Yes.
No one was paid for the work they were doing. Professional people volunteered themselves, their professional skills, and all of the money that was raised for the program went towards the kids.
That's right.
And that, I think, what is really what excites me is that you could spend all the money on the kids.
Wow.
And not, yes, these are men and women, like-minded individuals who volunteered their professional skills to be part of something amazing.
Wow.
And we've seen it over the past 9 years out in Mitchell's Plain.
Is it 9 years already?
2013 we had the first camp. Oh, it's 7 years. It's 9 years. No, it's this year. It's 10 year. We should actually have
Wow.
a celebration. It's
Wow,
2023.
I would love to be part of that. I think with
No.
with the initial start
We should
off,
actually do that. Yeah.
I can't. It just shows you that time flies
Yeah.
when you're having fun. Well, there you've got it. I mean, there is no excuse. I think you've really included everybody. Yes, it's sort of from 12, 14, and we're covering different areas. And I can see this program going to the different areas because there is a great need. And like I said at the start, there's just so many things that is negative, and when we switch on the television, but amidst the negativity, amidst the chaos, amidst the load shedding, there's powerful stories and testimonies like this one that you've shared. Just quickly, slightly off the topic. I think it was a couple of years ago that my son Caleb, he's the runner, and Malachi plays soccer. He ran for Mitchell's Plain Titans
Yes,
at the
he was
time.
a member of the
And
club.
and every time I used to come to the events, especially when it's Titans turns to do the half marathon, and I think they do a 10 and 5, I would always get you at the event, and you would like, Mr. Duckett, when am I seeing you? And last year I did my first Mitchell's Plain Titans 21. With
Well
my
done.
with my PB of 153.
Okay,
I have
that's
to add the
respectful.
Mr.
That's very respectful time. Very.
Mr. Andrews. But then I saw pictures the other day on the Titans group, and they got you somewhere, and you were doing.
There's an attempt to return to road running. Lots of things still remain in lockdown.
Yes.
My running was part of it, and we've got the memo that lockdown has lifted, and it includes running. So we've started the running, and we're getting slowly but surely getting back with the eye to eventually, oh God willing, do the Cape Town Marathon again. My annual pilgrimage.
Yes.
To running the marathons. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That is fantastic. Well, all I can say is that, you know what? There's people out there that makes the effort, that really their heart and their soul is not only for their community, but for everyone where there is a need. And I can say, being part of that program and in Mitchell's Plain, I mean, I can truly say that I've seen you in the trenches, that I've seen you doing the work, and it wasn't just saying things or you know, sort of mentioning it and it doesn't materialize. And I want to commend you. I want to commend you for that. So just lastly, I want to just touch on what future, in terms of the program, what futuristic things do you see happening or that you currently have planned for our youth?
Isidore, I think expansion definitely is one. I mentioned earlier on that we're looking at expanding. We have launched the program now, and to get some traction on that and identify those key partners in the Plumstead Steerhof area. That definitely is on the cards now.
Yeah.
What excites me now also with the program out in Mitchell's Plain, that those participants who joined in 2012-13 are now running the program.
Yes.
And for them now, how do we now come alongside them as you know, entering into the working class sector and add value to them? So the program's forever evolving, and so those are the key questions that we have, and so that we most importantly have that treadmill keep on running. So we have a youth at risk, getting on the treadmill towards success, and running, walking, crawling, but just heading in that direction.
Wow.
Because the biggest problem that I've observed now, and it's just the change, the last point that I think would be a constant in the program, the change of culture.
Wow.
Because far too often we, especially in those areas that we are targeting, those youth at risk see themselves with the eye of yesterday. But we are saying, see yourself with the eye of tomorrow. And you've got an obligation to be the very best version of yourself, to be the best that you can be. And I think that's what we are trying to sustain our focus on the program. And that I love about the program, it's really just, you know, like-minded people coming alongside a group of youth at risk and saying, oh, you've got a better tomorrow, and empowering them. And so those are 4 areas I think we should be remaining focused on to ensure that the expansion plans of the program is sustained.
Well, from my side, I can truly say that I am super excited. When you mention the word I remember one year when they had to do the song "Eye of the Tiger."
Yes.
Oh
Katy
my,
Perry.
yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I got involved with that thing, and Caitlin said to me, "Daddy, please don't embarrass me because I
story of our
I
lives
threw a
as
couple
parents."
of moves there, and I can remember some good times there."
Yeah.
Alderman Eddie, I honestly want to just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Firstly, for doing the spur of the moment. I won't try that again. I think I'll get in trouble with your office. But I believe when things line up for you, even the deputy mayor's diary will be available. I mean, I don't know the management at Heart FM will probably ask me, how did you get it right? We take months to get in any person like Alderman in here. And from my side, I just want to wish you everything of the best.
Thank you so much.
And I know it will be a success because your heart is in it. It's not for ulterior motives. It's not to gain anything out of it, but to see that our young people are growing and that they're going from strength to strength.
Thank you so much for having me. An absolute pleasure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the program this week of Matters of the Heart with your host Isadore Duckett, where we had the privilege of having Alderman Eddie Andrews with us and just discussing youth empowerment and also mentorship. And from my side, I want to say thank you for tuning in and listening. Till next time, God bless you.